Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you're enjoying the snow. Nice thing about online class is that we don't have to worry about class being canceled. So, with that, let's get into our week 2 announcement. So, I am currently in module 2 in our Blackboard. Click on it, open it. You know how this works. What we've got that is important, if you go to module 2 lecture, you've got some stuff you got to go through that'll help you with the rhetoric quiz, etc. But also, this is where you'll find, get this out of the way here. This is where you'll find the TED Talk arguments that you need to choose one, watch. I mean, you can certainly watch them all or a few of them if you want to kind of help you make your decision about which one you want to talk about. But you're going to talk about one of these in the essay. So watch at least one of them. So these are all the titles of the videos to give you a sense of what their contents are, and you should be able to just click on the link and it'll take you right to the TED Talk. Pretty nice. So we've got myths about racism, looks aren't everything, feeling like a misfit, do schools kill creativity, less stuff, more happiness, the danger of silence, the danger of a single story. So again, pick at least one to watch, but you're only going to respond to one of them in the essay. So those are all here. There are more listed here than listed on the course plan, simply because I added some additional ones that were not on the standard course plan for all 102 students. I thought more choices would be good for y'all to have. So if you don't see some of these on the course plan, that's why. Don't panic. More choices, good stuff, right? Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's too many choices. But pick one or more, watch, but respond to one. Okay, so we'll look at the instructions in just a second for that. Module 2 readings. These are the ones listed that are in your Argument Literature book that you need to read. And you've got an online lecture about the writing process. So you just download that file, watch that, or go through that. We've also got some readings from your Bedford Handbook that will help you with those particular quizzes. So make sure you go through those before attempting the quiz. Just makes sense. All right. So with that, you've got due by the 20th, that's Thursday, you've got 2 quizzes, fragments, run-ons, comma splices, and commas, hence the Bedford Handbook stuff. And you've got a quiz on rhetoric, which is up here in this Module 2 lecture. And you've also got a journal. So this is going to be about brainstorming for the Essay 1 assignment, which we'll look at in just a second. So like it says, review the Essay 1 prompt, begin thinking about what you might write about for your first essay. You are not required to stick to the topic, though, if you decide to change your mind. Some students do. They do some brainstorming, and they're like, you know what, I'm not really feeling this. I'm not vibing with this, so I'm going to pick a different one, and that's totally fine. But make sure you've read the writing process pre-writing, and you're going to choose one of the strategies in that handout to use as your strategy for doing this brainstorming assignment. So here are those essay instructions. Yet again, you can download the original file there. Here's what it looks like. Okay, so you're doing a response to all of the videos listed make an argument of some kind, and you're going to respond to that argument. So like it says, we're going to look at several different arguments that state an opinion and support that opinion. So you're going to, well, I'm just going to watch. There's nothing to read. You're going to watch one of those types of arguments. You're going to summarize it. So you're going to give the gist of like what its argument is and the points that it makes. And then you're going to respond to and evaluate that argument using additional research. Okay. So you're going to watch one of those TED Talk options that I just showed you. Okay. If any of the links don't work for whatever reason, please let me know. I'll go through and just double check that they all work on my end. But if they don't work on yours, you can also Google them too. You can just do TED Talk and then you can do the title of the video and it should take you there. So that's always an option. It's not through like the databases or anything. Okay, then you're going to write in an essay of 750 to 1,000 words, at least 5 paragraphs in which you first summarize your selection, respond to it, and evaluate it with a developed argument that discusses the accuracy of the selection's main ideas. So do you feel like the writer-speaker is correct or incorrect in the argument they're making? Are they supporting their points with factual objective evidence? Do they use the rhetorical appeals that you're going to learn about in the rhetoric lecture effectively or ineffectively? Maybe they emphasize one a little too much. So you want to have just the right combination of those 3 rhetorical appeals, the appeal to logic, the appeal to trust, and the appeal to emotion. You want to have just the right combination of that. That's what makes an argument effective. If you rely too heavily on one over the others, it's not as effective. So like too much appeal to emotion, for instance, can make an argument ineffective. It can backfire, actually, make people turn away from it. Or it can sway people, but for the wrong reasons. So you're then going to respond with adequate context, research evidence, and thorough discussion. So the assignment gives pretty clear instructions about what you should do in the essay. And I'm going to provide y'all with some examples as well in probably next week's folder, because I want you to kind of stand on your own 2 feet when doing your brainstorming and outlining and stuff. But I will provide you examples because I think that's important, and I'll go through them in next week's lecture video. Not lecture video, announcement video. Okay, so you're going to have a 6 to 8 sentence summary of we'll call it reading selection, but it's a video selection. Make sure that you include the author's name, the title of the video in the first sentence, and don't go too nuts with quoting the video in the summary, because it should be primarily your own words. So be really selective if you do directly quote anything. And of course, make sure you put that in quotation marks, of course. So the whole point is to set up the idea you're responding to and giving context for the rest of the argument. So the summary is really important. Doing that well is really important for the rest of the essay. And then you're going to have an argumentative thesis statement that addresses, this is where you're going to make your stand. You're going to plant your flag, basically. How accurate or inaccurate you feel like the selected video. I know it keeps saying reading. I'm sorry. Let's just pretend. Replace the word reading with video. The selected video's argument. The thesis should list your main points. So I'm a big fan of the 3-prong thesis, right? This video is incorrect because 1, 2, 3, or this video is accurately representing the scope of the problem because of 1, 2, 3. And it's basically your mini outline for the essay. It's the target that you're going to hit with the rest of the essay. So setting yourself up a really clear target at the beginning in your thesis, well, not beginning, but the end of your introduction, is going to make the rest of your job writing the essay much easier. So mention the original speaker, what their argument is, and if you feel like it's effective or ineffective. Okay. And then you just, one at a time, just 1, 2, 3. Body paragraphs, develop, support the main points from your thesis, and bring in examples from your sources. Okay. We'll talk more about the source requirements in a second. Topic sentence, transitions to connect ideas, signal phrases and in-text citations every time you quote or paraphrase an outside source. So that's really important. Anytime, and this is one of the areas where students really tend to accidentally plagiarize. They're bringing in all kinds of stuff from their sources, and they're not acknowledging that with citation, either, the according to so-and-so, blah, 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 signal phrase style, or blah, 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 parenthetical citation with the last name, that kind of thing. So this is one of the reasons you're going to be turning in a draft for review from me, because I hate giving 50s to students for this, and it always breaks their hearts. I worked really hard on this essay, and you gave me an F. I'm like, well, you should have gotten a 0 because this contained like a super megaton of plagiarism. And we can go over it, and I can explain it to you, and I can show you examples, but there's always like some people who just like don't get it until they try it, and then they realize like, oh, I don't get it. And then I point it out to them, and then they're like, oh, okay. And then they fix it, and everybody's happy. Okay. I like making people happy. Okay. Conclusion. Restate your main idea in a new way. Do not simply copy and paste your thesis, because that is lame. Bring that essay to a close. Stick the landing. A good strategy is to kind of mirror the introduction in terms of what kind of content and structure you had. So like if you started the paper with an interesting statistic, or an interesting quote, you could circle back to that. To bring things full circle. That's a cool little trick. You don't have to do it that way. There's lots of ways to close out a good essay, but so don't assume that your audience is familiar with the work or the argument you've chosen to respond to. Make sure that summary is super clear at the beginning. All right, let's talk research, because everybody's always nervous about that. And that, a little bit of being nervous is okay. Being a little too cavalier about it is not good. So what you need to have in this paper, at a minimum, you can certainly have more, but don't go too crazy. You need at least 3 quotes from that TED Talk video. So be selective about what quotes, like which ones do you feel like were really powerful and really potent and really quote worthy. And then you're also going to bring in at least one outside source, and it doesn't need to be from library databases. The next one it does. But for this one, you can use those if you're familiar with them. I mean, you can't go wrong. And I'm going to show y'all next week some really good resources that we have through the databases. However, if you don't want to go through that, you don't have to. But that means that there's more responsibility on your part to pick a really good source. So I have had to tell students, you can't use this source when they turn in their works cited for feedback. Like, I looked this source up and it is definitely not a credible source. It is somebody's lifestyle blog. There's a lot of those out there, like so many. Those people, no offense to lifestyle bloggers, but like who cares what they think about these very important issues? So, I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't talk about it. I'm just saying that that's not a professionally published or credible web source. And it's really important in this day and age to be able to tell the difference between a professionally published credible web source and a not professionally published credible web source. I'm not saying you shouldn't read those other ones or enjoy them. I'm just saying you got to take them with a huge grain of salt, and they're not always appropriate for academic work, which is what this is. So are the standards high here? Yes, they are. They have to be. That's what makes it college. So again, can't go wrong with the databases. So I'm going to show you all some good spots next week. Or if you took my one-on-one class, I know for a fact that you are familiar with the library databases. They are still there and they're still great. So this is also extremely important. But again, it's also why we turn in a draft, so we can catch any of this if we need to. Of course, I might just tell you in your feedback video, hey, you did a fantastic job with this. Or I might be like, okay, we got some serious problems. You need to fix them. You have 2 days. Kind of thing. Any borrowed material, quoted, summarized, or paraphrased. So whether you put it in your own words or whether you quoted it directly, it doesn't matter. You've got to cite it in text and in the works cited page. Otherwise, you plagiarized from those sources. And if people get buried, clutch their pearls when I tell them, hey, you plagiarized. But like, that's plagiarism. I don't make the rules. Those are the rules. So make sure you got them quotes. Make sure you cite those quotes, but also make sure you cite anything that you put in your own words as well. Here's another very important thing I'm going to be looking for from you in my feedback videos to you. Did you stay in third person? Don't talk about yourself. How am I supposed to explain my thoughts and feelings and opinions without talking about myself? Just state them like they're facts. Just state, this is not correct, or this does not take into consideration the scope of blah, blah, blah. Like, just state your opinions like they're facts. That's what we do in academic writing. We don't talk about ourselves, really. We don't. And you definitely don't talk about the person you are talking to in your paper, because you don't know their life. You don't know my life. So don't talk about me. Don't talk about yourself. Just talk about the facts and the issues and the people involved. And like, we're going to keep everything in a nice, healthy distance. These are the boundaries that we set. Boundary setting, very important. Okay, so we're going to go over MLA paper format in the examples I'm going to show you all next week. We're also going to look at how they did their in-text citations, how they did their works cited page. You're going to turn in a works cited page just to make sure your sources are good and you formatted everything correctly. You're going to submit it through Blackboard. It's going to be a Word doc, or the worst, a PDF. Not the worst, like the worst case scenario, PDF. Don't turn it in as a Google Drive or any of that stuff. Don't give me a link to your Office. Don't share anything with me, Office 365. I can't get it. I can't get to it. And Blackboard will not pull the document up. So, boo, boo, boo. This essay is worth 10% of your grade for the class. It is serious stuff. There is a grading rubric I will use, and I will go through that grading rubric with you. And another announcement. Don't turn in work from previous courses or it will get a 0. Don't do it. Just do totally new work. Don't try to recycle something. I don't know how you could with these TED Talks, but people never fail to surprise me. So, yeah, these are the requirements. Meet them. Okay. So this is a totally doable assignment. Y'all can totally do this. And get some pre-writing, some thoughts down. jotted down for this brainstorming. I'll give you some feedback on that, let you know how things are looking. You can, yeah, this is where you're going to submit it. So you can, like it says, copy paste it directly into the entries box. You can type your response. You can attach a Word document. Don't submit. It's really hard when people submit pictures of handwritten stuff. It just makes it harder. So just type it all in if you would, please. Thanks in advance. Okay. So that, my dears, is week 2 in a nutshell. I look forward to reading your brainstorming ideas for this assignment. I look forward to reading your the discussions that came in and your responses to each other and all that good stuff. Thanks for getting that done. Good job on week 1. And yeah, if you need anything, you can always email me. You'll see, like, in your version, you should see a little email button up here. You can also use course messages as well. All I ask is that you, where it says send an email response to the person, click that button, just because it'll tell me in my email, which I check regularly, it'll say that I've got a message from you. And then I go into Blackboard and I pull up the message and all that. If you don't click that button, then I may not see the message as quickly. All right. So just as a courtesy, thanks in advance. Just click that little button. Or you can email me directly. That works too. There's no little email thing here, but there should be one for you. And if there isn't, you can use course messages. All right. If anybody needs anything, holler at me. Great job so far. Enjoy the snow. Take care. Don't drive anywhere if you can avoid it. And that's that. Have a great week. Bye-bye.